Hello everyone! A few months ago, I showed you how to use the Qwen edit model to swap clothes. Today, I want to show you the newer Flux.2 Klein model for the same kind of job. It can usually give you higher quality images and it runs faster too. Let's compare the results. In this comparison, the image on the left is from Flux.2 Klein. The image on the right is from Qwen edit 2511. Let's zoom in. Look at the see-through lace on the arm in the left image. You can still see the texture. In the right image, those details are basically gone. If you look at the hair, the difference is even more obvious. Let's check another example. Compared with the dress from Flux.2 Klein, the one from Qwen Edit looks a bit flat. The lighting and shadows also do not match the environment very well. Now let's jump into Qwen and show you the new workflow. I built this workflow on Running Hub. If you want to learn more, there's a link in the video description. This workflow has 5 node groups, but don't worry, it's not complicated. 2 of the groups are optional. For now, let's deactivate those optional ones. Our task is simple. We want the woman in this image to wear the trench coat from this image. First, I cropped out the trench coat using the image crop by mask node. Cropping is usually a good practice. It helps the Klein model focus on the area that matters. This crop is based on a mask that we paint. The mask might be hard to see, so let's zoom in. I only made 4 marks around the coat's edges. 1 at the top, 1 on the left, 1 on the right, and 1 at the bottom. That's enough. You do not need to cover the whole coat. If you are working with a dress, it helps to include the knees in the mask area. That way, Klein can better understand the length of the dress. Next, I use the image remove BG node to remove the background. This step is optional. If you want, you can bypass it. After that, the image with the white background goes into the image input switch node. This switch lets us choose which image will be the second reference image for Flux.2 Klein. Right now, the input value is set to 2. That means this white background coat image is the second reference image. If we change the input value to 1, then the output from the third node group becomes the second reference image instead. Now let's look at the first reference image. This is the woman who will wear the trench coat. I use an image resize node to limit the size. I set the condition to downscale it bigger, so if either the width or height goes over 2048, it will scale down to 2048. The proportions stay the same. One big advantage of Flux.2 Klein compared to Qwen edit models is that it can generate large images with good detail like 2048 by 2048. Qwen edit models often make mistakes at 2K resolution and the quality is not as good. That's why, in my older Qwen edit clothes swap workflow, I also had to mask the clothing area on the target person. With Flux.2 Klein, this resized image can be used directly as the first reference image. The prompt is very simple. Let the woman in image 1 wear the trench coat in image 2. Now let's hit run and see the result. This output is pretty good. It reproduced the outfit successfully. But what if we do not want the scarf and the bag? Wearing a bag while lying on sand and rocks looks strange. We can add instructions to the prompt. Let's add remove the scarf and the bag. Now let's run it again. Now the scarf and the bag are gone. But let's compare the coat details with the original. I think the original trench coat has 6 buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But the new coat has 7. So how do we get Klein to reproduce exactly 6 buttons? You might think changing the seed will fix it. I tested a lot of seeds. Most of the time, the buttons are still not correct. Sometimes the number is wrong, sometimes the positions are wrong. If we want Flux.2 Klein to be more accurate, we need to give it a simpler task. In this case, instead of asking it to remove the scarf and the bag during the clothing swap, we can do that in a separate step. That's why we have the third node group. Let's activate it now. In this third group, the prompt is extract the dress onto a white background. Remove the scarf and bag. Let's run the workflow and see what we get from this group. Perfect! Now the trench coat is extracted onto a white background and the scarf and bag are removed. The image size here is 1216 by 2048, but you can set a different size in the node. Now we can use this extracted coat image as the new reference for Klein, so we set the input value to 1. Then we remove the words, remove the scarf and bag from the main prompt. Now we run the workflow again. Now let's try another task. This time, we want this woman to wear this specific dress. The prompt is, let the woman in image 1 wear the dress in image 2. Remove the bracelet. Here is the output. Now the woman has 3 hands. Sometimes Flux.2 Klein can create extra limbs or extra fingers. Besides changing the seed, you can also adjust the sampling steps and the CFG value. I explained that in my previous video. If you want more detail, check the link in the video description. In this case, it's not only the model. The target woman's left arm is stretched out to balance against the wall, but the woman in the dress reference image is not posing that way. So it's hard for Klein to imagine how the dress fabric should drape when the arm is extended. This is where the third node group helps again. We can modify the dress reference first before we do the final swap. Let's activate the third group. This time the prompt is, make her stretch her left arm out. Expand and extract the dress onto a white background. Let's run it and see the output. Now we have a version of the dress on a woman with a similar pose, with her left arm stretched out. Great! Now we set the input value to 1 and run the fourth group. Here is the result. Let's take a closer look. If we compare it to the original dress, the consistency is actually pretty decent. Finally, let's talk about the last node group. This one is for a high-risk fix. It makes the image larger and can add more detail. You can set the upscale ratio here. The prompt is, add more details to image 1, 4K, 8K. Let's run it. Here is the final output. How many extra details did it add? Not a lot, but it is still an improvement. So if you want a little more detail, this node group is worth using. That's it for today. If you want to download this workflow, please consider joining our community and supporting the channel. If you learned something from this video, you can also subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.